It is June 17th. This is Brian Sullivan, Chair of Affordable Housing Trust. I'll call the meeting to order as a preliminary matter. Let me confirm members and people on the agenda can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. So, Brooke Moore. Forrest Bell.
Here.
Chantal Murphy.
Here.
Thank you. And Brian Sullivan is here. Staff, when I call your name, Vicky Marsh.
Here.
Christy Ferrantella.
Here.
Dylan, how do you say your last name?
It's Metchampel.
Metchampel.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dylan Metchampel. Eric Barth. Great.
Here.
Meg, I see you're coming in. Can we check your mic?
Hi.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. Meg. Okay, I think she's working on it. We'll give her a minute. With that, I will jump to this meeting is an online meeting. All votes will be taken by roll call. With that, we'll move over to the agenda. Is there any changes, additions, or edits or movement to the agenda, Dylan or Christie? As we have it? Okay, great. I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Forrest.
Second.
And a second from Brooke by roll call. Brooke Moore. Forrest Bell.
Aye.
Chantal Murphy.
Aye.
Meg was in, now she's out. Brian Sullivan's and I. Hopefully she can make it back in. Item 3, public comments for items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comments? Members of the board as a member of the public? Seeing no activity, I'll close public comment. Item 4, approval of the minutes of June 3rd, June 9th, review and action. Is there a recommendation from staff on these?
A recommendation to approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make that. Sorry.
Thank you, Chantal. I got Chantal with the motion and Forrest with the second. Vote by roll call on approving the minutes. Penny, I see you just came in. Can you hear us?
Yes.
See us?
Mhm.
Great. Before I take a vote on this motion, Penny, do you have any comments, changes, edits, additions to the minutes of June 3rd or June 9th? So
No,
there's a motion.
Thank goodness.
There's a motion to approve from Chantal, seconded by Forrest. The vote by roll call. Brooke Moore.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. Forrest Bell.
Aye.
Chantal Murphy.
Aye.
Penny Dye.
Aye.
Meg, I see that you just came in. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I got you.
Aye.
Vote on this. Thank you. And Brian Sullivan's and I. Moving to item 5, announcements. Christy or Dylan, do you want this one?
Sure, I'm happy to make the announcement
Great.
that Richmond Development has opened applications for the lottery for 7 income restricted rental units at Meadows 1. These units will serve households earning up to 80% of area and median income. And the applications are open until next Monday, June 23rd. And more information can be found at sebhousing.com, and that URL is on our agenda, or you can visit their office at 1 Orchid Place in the Richmond Development.
Thank you, Christy. Brooke, for a follow-up?
Does the communications department, town comms department help pushing this information out at all?
I'm going to direct that to you, Christy.
Through you, Chair. Yes, we have been working with the communications department to have it on social media and in newsletters over the past month.
Great. Thank you. Let's see. With that, we'll move to item 6, closing cost assistance application for 21 Honeysuckle Drive, Carlos Chavez and Ricardo Espinoza. Did I see that they might be here?
Yes, I believe
Penny?
they're here.
Thank you, Dylan. Penny, to you.
Mr. Chair, did we skip the approval of the minutes?
No, we took a vote on that.
I'm sorry, I thought we were voting on the agenda. Okay. Thank you.
Do we need to reconsider that?
Not for me.
No? Okay, great. Coming back to the closing cost assistance application for 21 Honeysuckle Drive. Are there any questions, or staff, do you want to present the application? Introduce us to the applicant, go from there?
Sure. So this is the closing cost assistance program application for Ricardo Espinoza and Carla Chavez. The complete application, it's for 21 Honeysuckle Drive, and the complete application should be in your packet. And I believe that they are here on this call if they want to. No requirement to, but if they want to come on camera and mute themselves, they'd be welcome to, I believe.
Great, thank you, Dylan. And yes, you are accurate. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, or motions on the application? Shanta?
So I don't know if I'm looking at something different, but I see page 6 of 7 only that just has their name at the top and just says closing cost assistance program and the checklist.
So
Is
I
that-
sent in the packet, we only include the checklist, but I sent to you separately the full application, which I can
Okay,
resend.
I have some quick fingers. I could probably find it. Sorry, we got a lot of
No,
stuff
don't be
kind
sorry.
of
We'll-
spaced out over the last week. So
I just forwarded it to you,
awesome, thank you.
of course.
We'll give Shanta a minute to take a look. That's that one.
You know how it is now that the pressure's on, it's not loading.
Right, of course. So does anyone else have any questions while Shanta's computer catches up with us?
Now, I'd like to just point out through you that the reason we don't distribute everything is there's proprietary sensitive information in it, like people's tax IDs and stuff.
Financial information, etc. So
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. And I do know that. I just didn't see the separate packet or separate email that was sent. I do have it open. Thank you very much. If no one else has anything to add, I would like to make a motion to approve this closing cost assistance program request up to $15,000 for, I believe it's 21 Honeysuckle for the Chavezes.
great. Thank you, Shanta. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that was Penny. A vote by roll call. Shanta Murphy,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Boris Bell,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Congratulations to the Chavezes. Good luck. Hopefully this is helpful. With that, don't feel like you need to stay on to the rest of the meeting. But stay if you'd like. All right, where did I get lost? Sorry, guys. Mr. Holland, I think Nantucket Land Trust request for endorsement of letter to select board discussion and action. Dylan or Christy, do you have any opening before we move to Tucker?
Yep. So the Nantucket Land Trust is being established as a community land trust with the charter of lessening the burdens of government, particularly with respect to year-round housing. In this way, the land trust's mission aligns with the town's objectives for year-round housing, including municipal housing. The Nantucket Land Trust is seeking the latitude to serve the whole of the year-round population, folks at all income levels. This model has been successfully employed over the past 2 decades on Martha's Vineyard in the form of the Island Housing Trust. The Island Housing Trust is headed by Felipe Jordy, who is a member of the Nantucket Land Trust Board. In a community land trust model, the homeowner owns the home and the land trust owns the land. By so doing, it makes the home more attainable cost-wise and contributes to the goal of creating a bifurcated market, one where there is a sustainable inventory only open to year-round residents, and then the open market. The Nantucket Land Trust is being led operationally by Tucker Holland, supported by a board including Penny Dye, Bill Cassidy, And I believe I met Felipe Jordi at the Housing Institute, and that is how you say his name, John Kitchener and Arthur Reed. Their organization has received operational seed capital commitments, providing the necessary runway to get this off the ground and flying in its early years. The Nantucket Land Trust is positioning itself to be able to collaborate with and complement the work of existing housing organizations on the island. And our staff recommendation is to endorse the letter in the packet to recommend the select board sign it for submission.
Great, thank you, Dylan. Any members of the board have questions for Mr. Holland? I have one question, Tucker. In the model where the land trust owns the land and the individual owns the house, what is that form of ownership? Is it condo, or maybe this is a Vicky question or a Tracy question, but like in thinking about moving houses to land, like how does the owner hold the title and like in the financing sense of things, how does this work? Vicky, thanks for jumping in.
So, a house is deemed to be personal property. So it's not real property. So if you were going to buy the house, you'd be getting a bill of sale, not the deed.
Penny, thank
Yeah,
you, Vicky.
The way it happens, I think on Martha's Vineyard, and Tucker can elaborate on this, is it's a leasehold, it's a renewable leasehold interest.
And so then that's long enough to be able to finance in some manner with the deed restrictions that exist on it. Tracy, I saw you just come off mic.
Yeah, I mean, I was going along the same line. I assumed that would be the way it would be, is a leasehold.
Yeah, so just to be clear, this letter that is being submitted to the select board for their signatures is a piece of our pending application for our 501c3 status with the IRS. And I should probably not vote on this, given that I am on the land trust board. I should probably recuse on the vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Penny. Any other, so the staff recommendation was to endorse the letter. Any other comments, questions, thoughts, or motions? Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Forrest. And a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brooke. Vote by roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Bye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
Penny Dyes abstaining, and Brian Sullivan's an aye.
Thank you all. And it's nice not to even have to say a word. I do want to say, Vicky, it's great to see you, as it is the whole of the Affordable Housing Trust. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Tucker. Same here. Good to see you too.
I think Brian's frozen.
He is frozen, yep.
Penny, do you want to take a word?
I'll take this time.
Oops, Forrest, you're muted.
I'll take this time to congratulate Tucker on Eli's graduation. Congratulations.
He couldn't have
Is that
done it.
everybody or?
He couldn't have done it without you, Forrest.
Thanks. And congratulations on William and Mary. Great school.
So, Brian, you were frozen. I think you're back. Okay.
I'm back.
Good.
So I'm gonna look for I've recused on this item, so I'm gonna look for somebody to take it, but this is the review execution of declaration of easements. Declaration of cross easements and partial lease of the mortgage and agreement on NHA properties to the trust regarding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11 Wiggles Way, formerly known as 31 Fairgrounds Road. Penny?
Procedural question. Are there others besides you recusing? And if so, do we have enough people to vote on this present?
You have 1, 2, 3,
Need to
4.
recuse.
You have 4, so it would be Shanta, Forrest, Penny.
And Meg?
I don't think Meg.
Brian, I don't think that you need to recuse from this. This is the
No.
conveyance of lot 9 to the land bank.
Yeah, this is the land bank.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't need to
forgive me.
recuse on this.
No,
Sorry.
nobody does. Yep.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, then,
Right.
then Christy, I'm gonna open to you to take us away, and then I'll come, then if you can pass to Vicky.
Okay, perfect. So I was just going to open by saying that this is a request in relation to the conveyance of lot 9 to the land bank, which is part of the overall subdivision of the original 31 Fairgrounds lot. Since the Affordable Housing Trust holds the mortgage on the property, we need to approve several documents in relation to this transaction. And I'll hand it over to Vicky Marsh to walk us through the several documents.
Thank you, Christy. So you have before you the declaration of cross easements. There's also an acknowledgement of termination of an affordable housing restriction, a partial release of the mortgage, and then there is a final agreement having to do with posting of the bond. So the dex really has to do with the infrastructure on the property. The owner of the property, which is NHA Properties, otherwise known as Housing Nantucket, is responsible for the construction of all of the infrastructure, including the roadways, the sidewalks, irrigation, management of utilities, things like that on the property. So there's a series of easements that will run between the owner of the property and lot 9, which is the land bank, which is going to be the purchaser of lot 9. The land bank is required to hold this property for open space purposes and in perpetuity. And it's also going to be available for the general public to use as well. And that's required pursuant to the special permit that was granted to the owner. So the easements that run through here have to do with the roadway access, the sidewalks. They're always, they're going to be maintained by the owner. They're actually doing the construction and then the maintenance of it as well. There's also going to be a maintenance parking easement that's going to be available. There are going to be 2 parking spots on the property, as well as 2 spots that are going to be available to the public for park when using lot 9. And those are reserved to the public and not for use by the residents. And there's also a well easement area because there's a well on the property that may need maintenance, repair. So there's an easement that's going to be running to the owners of lot 9 if they have to do any access to that particular lot for the maintenance of the well. And there's irrigation systems as well that are on on lot 9 as well. So basically, we're asking for the trust really to sign off on this as being a mortgagee of the property. It's not our, we don't have an actual ownership interest in the property. So this is really just an approval as the lender to the property. Any questions?
What's the recommendation, Vicky?
I recommend that this be approved by the trust.
Okay, thank you. We have questions from Penny and Forrest. Penny, go ahead.
Just quickly, for those that may not be familiar, lot 9 is essentially that large, now grassy space between buildings 1 and 8 and Fairgrounds Road that looks like a big field. And the well was originally installed, the property's on town water, all the units are, but the well was installed specifically for irrigation. And I just want to mention that the land bank at our last construction committee meeting has agreed, they're already maintaining it, which is great. They have, yeah. So we have sort of 3 final pieces here. This is one of them. Next is the final coat of paving, which is coming. Tracy's shaking her head in the next few weeks. And I think that's it, really. Yeah. So I would urge people to approve this. the last piece of the puzzle, essentially. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Forrest?
I just have a quick question. I may have misunderstood. I just want to just some clarification. The owner is Housing Nantucket, and Lot 9 owner would be the land bank, correct?
They'd own the fee.
Correct.
And you just had mentioned that Housing Nantucket would be responsible for installing infrastructure and also maintaining infrastructure. Is that correct?
Right, so there's a roadway that runs through here, there's a sidewalk, there's parking, so all of that needs to be maintained, and the owner, Housing Nantucket, is going to be doing that, yes.
Underground utilities as well.
Okay. I guess my follow-up question is pursuant to section 2.2, it actually says that Lot 9 owner shall maintain, repair, and replace all necessary landscaping, et cetera, et cetera.
Landscaping is different than.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I just wanted further clarification.
Mhm.
Thank you, Forrest. Any additional questions, comments on the document? Would someone like to make a motion based on Vicky's recommendation? Any of your mics off? So I'm looking for somebody to support a motion from the staff recommendation to support the endorsement.
I'll make a motion, Brian, to review it and execute the declaration of cross easements, partial release of the mortgage, and the agreement between NHA Properties and the trust regarding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11 Wibbles Way, formerly known as 31 Fairgrounds Road.
And can you add on for the chair or vice chair to sign any necessary documents?
Yeah, that too.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Megan. Vote by roll call. Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Tom Murphy,
Aye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan tonight. Okay, thank you, everybody. Let's go
Mr. Chair,
down to best practices for land disposition. This feels like a Christie item. Christie, you want to run with this?
Vicky's raising her hand. Hold
Oh,
on.
it's lost my, oh, can you hear me at least?
Yes.
Okay, well, I can't see the picture, but I can certainly explain a couple of things. Mr. Chair, to Christie, did you want me to explain also the acknowledgement of termination of the affordable housing restriction and the agreement itself having to do with the bond? Did you want me to go through that?
Vicky, so I think you must have frozen up for a fair amount. We the motion to approve on the recommendation and voted to
Okay,
approve. I think you must have froze out for a period of time.
okay.
Christie, am I accurate on that we're good with item number 8 and we're ready to move to number 9, best practices for land disposition?
Yes, if everyone feels comfortable with all the documents that were in the packet.
Okay, great.
Great.
So with that, I'll come to you, Christie, for this item.
Okay. Thank you. Through you, Chair. This has been a request from the trust for staff to research ways to release the sale of existing purchases that we've made. This includes properties like 14 Somerset and 8C 30 acres, and trying to get these homes either through rental or homeownership into the hands of our community members. So staff has met with Laura Schufelt, who works with Massachusetts Housing Partnership, MHP, and they provide a lot of technical assistance for communities around Massachusetts on the disposition of land and RFPs. And she walked us through a detailed process of getting a clear understanding of how to get these properties sold and, like I said, into the hands of community members. So in your packet, it lays out a step-by-step guide that I just wanted to walk through as a general review of it. This is a process that's been discussed internally. We have Vicki Marsh, Brian Turbot, our finance director, and Tracy McDonald, our real estate specialist, have all been working on this internally as a staff. So to begin, and I'll just use 8C as kind of our model going through this as an example. The first step would be for the trust to formally vote to declare the property as surplus. So it would be a voted, it'd be an item on our agenda that you guys would vote to declare that as surplus property. From there, the staff would work with the finance department to put together our objectives and pricing strategy. We would, again, bring this back to the trust with a staff recommendation. So, for example, with 8C 30 acres, would we want it as home ownership or a rental opportunity? What percentage or buy down percentage do we want that to be at the 100% of area median income or the 150%? And being able to show all the different options for the trust to make a recommendation on. Once the trust makes that recommendation on home ownership or rental and at what AMI, we would work on a request for proposals. This step would be to create an RFP to hire a lottery agent and a monitoring agent. These roles have to be filled by separate entities. So whoever we hire as lottery agent cannot also be the monitoring agent, otherwise they're monitoring themselves. Typically the town serves as a monitoring agency in a lot of other deals, but again, MHP would help us with the technical assistance of kind of recommending vendors and helping us with that process of getting the RFPs out. Once we select the lottery agent, they would then put together the affirmative fair housing marketing plan. And what we've seen in other developments like Richmond and Habitat for Humanity and Wiggles Way, they would release affirmative fair housing marketing plan for 60 days, getting communications all out to all different neighborhoods and communities, and being able to collect all that information. They would verify incomes and make sure people are eligible for the wait list, and they would eventually select whoever the homeowner or tenant would be. So it was a really great process to work with Laura Schufelt at MHP. She's been helping other towns and has connected me with Mary Wagon, who's the housing director over on the town of Yarmouth. And they've actually been doing a very similar program, but instead of their trust purchasing properties and then looking to resell them, they have an open RFP that they work with potential developers or homeowners. And I see it as a little bit mix of what we're trying to do with our year-round deed restriction pilot program and this program, where they basically offer incentives where if you go through the process of purchasing a house, getting an agent, getting a regulatory agreement on it, and getting it, they actually put it on their shy list, then you're eligible for funds from the town of Yarmouth. And they've secured 19 deed restricted units over the last 6 years using this program. So I've been working with Mary as well to see how their RFPs are developed and being able to adapt it to Nantucket. So I wanted to just present that as a preliminary overview of the steps that would be taken as the trust has been requesting that, and wanted to open it up for questions that I may not be able to answer today, but we will keep it as an agenda item and we can circle back to this at the July meeting.
Any members with questions for Christy? Brooke?
Christy, if we decided to do 100% or 80% AMI, or 80 in particular, could we also do an RFP to sell to another housing organization and they would manage the allocation process? I'm thinking about Habitat, for instance, like, so that we wouldn't actually have to do all of that, hiring a lottery and monitoring agent, that we would put it through them and they've already done the EOHLC stuff. Just a thought, if we decided to go steeply discounted to 80%.
I could answer that through you, Brian.
Please.
So that process would just be tweaked a little bit, and that's really what we do with our other RFPs that we've done where we're disposing of vacant land. So it would be an RFP for an organization like Habitat or Housing Nantucket or any housing related organization could submit a proposal and would be evaluated. So that could be a route that the trust goes as well. And that's where I wanted to review what the process is, and it's going to look different for an existing dwelling versus the vacant land. But just so that the trust understands the process and that we can decide how we want to move forward.
Thumbs up. Thank you, Christy. Any other questions on this item? Seeing none, Christy, thank you. We'll carry over to July meeting as you mentioned. Staff update. Item 10.
Perfect. Through you, Chair. The staff update was included in your packet. This was something that staff started to put together last month, and we'd like to continue doing this for the second meeting of the month. We'll have a staff report. It runs through current grants and loans updates as well as our SHI list and any ongoing current projects. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. We want to welcome Tom, who's on the meeting with us. He's our summer intern. We also have Chase Windish, who's our other intern. They're helping with real estate and housing. Chase works the morning shift and Tom does the afternoon. So if you guys
Welcome,
come
Tom.
by the housing office to meet them. Second, I think we just mentioned how close we are finishing Wiggles Way, but Housing Nantucket's received all these certificates of occupancy. And there was a really great article recently in the Current. And that is the link to that article is in our packet. Has some great pictures of the finished project and a great story about the tenants that are being served by that project. An update on the Tacoma Green project. I just wanted to let the trust know that has been making forward progress. We've been able to, the developers Halkeen received the approval from Mass Housing for their financing letters. That was a huge step in this process. We've been relatively meeting weekly. A few of them have been canceled the last couple of weeks as we were sorting through some issues, but we met this week, and with Vicky and Brian Turbot as part of this team, they're on schedule to be able to start construction on December 1st of this year. And really the thing holding that up is the northern long-eared bats that were found on the site. So they're working through that. Other thing, I just wanted to give a quick update on the requests for proposals that are out or that have been out. The RFP for the bundled parcels of Bartlett Road, Vesper Lane, and Orange Street is in review. We received 2 proposals, and the applicant is going to be presenting in about actually it's next week, next Wednesday, the 25th. They'll be presenting their proposals. They submitted 2. 7 Amelia's in the same step of being reviewed by the RFP committee, and there was 2 proposals received for that as well. The RFQ for a year-round deed restriction monitoring agency has been reviewed and by staff and the RFP committee. It should be on the July 9th select board meeting to award that contract. Just a couple of things around current initiatives that staff has been working on. It's been a busy month since I last reported, but I just wanted to thank Brian Sullivan. He participated in the Joint Committee on Housing hearing on May 29th, alongside Laura Silber from the Vineyard and Paul Nedwitzky from the Cape Cod Chamber. And they discussed statewide housing challenges, but more importantly, the challenges of seasonal communities. And I included a copy of Brian's testimony in the packet. Staff has been working to coordinate a joint planning session with the select board and the planning board with the trust. And we have a meeting scheduled with just the chairs of those 3 committees to discuss moving forward on a joint planning session. We also have a request from the trust to have a future agenda item discussing the covenant program. And so staff will be meeting with Nantucket, with Housing Nantucket and the Nantucket Housing Authority next week to start that discussion and prepare for an agenda item in August. We're also working with Remain on possibly submitting a WPI project proposal that would look at identifying underutilized space in the downtown commercial district and evaluating zoning reform opportunities for creating housing. And lastly, it's already time for us to update our housing production plan. It was last updated in 2021, so we'll be spending 2026 updating it. So we're beginning the procurement process for that this summer. The last thing I just want to give an update on is the communications efforts. We've been coordinating with Florencia Rulo, who's the communications manager for the town, and we will be having a monthly meeting with Florencia and staff to talk about housing and all the different ways of advertising things through social media and other campaigns. And then she'll be coming to our trust meeting as well and being able to hear from the trust members what we'd like to see and getting feedback in real time. So I'm really excited to have her working directly with us. Already in the last couple of weeks, we've had some great Instagram posts or posting about the covenant formation program after we just approved that at our May meeting and making sure people know about the programs that are out there. So Valencia will be joining us for our July meeting as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Christy. Penny?
I, through you, Brian, to Christy. I know you're doing quarterly reports to our select board. Is that on a regular schedule, like the end of each quarter or the beginning? It would be helpful to know when those are.
Through you, Brian. Those are quarterly. There was no April one. We were leading into town meeting, and so it'll be in July that I'll be presenting again.
Okay, and maybe just give us a heads up so we might be able to attend.
Absolutely.
And be supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Christy. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll jump to the next item on the agenda. Board comments. Open up for any comments from members of the board. Seeing none, as we're getting to the finish line, I'll just one quick comment. I want to thank Tracy and Penny and Christy for all of the hard work through the construction meetings at Wiggles Way and getting us to where we are. Vicky, I want to include you in that as all of the paperwork that we've been working through. So I'm in great appreciation of the additional extra effort that you all have made. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just quickly share something that was sort of amusing. We've been meeting for what, 3 years now, every Friday morning at 9:30 and by Zoom. And Will Stevens, of course, stepped in after Billy's health crisis to take over general contracting the project to finish it. I want to just emphasize how important Will's involvement was in bringing this to a happy conclusion. But I also want to share with you at our last meeting, I said, so we must be winding this down. I mean, we're really close to being it's not going to be necessary to have these meetings anymore. And Will says, well, this could be the last one. I said, not quite. Anyway, I just thought that was amusing. Thank you.
He really came through for everybody. So it is great. I called him the other day to say thank you as I drove by Wiggles Way and saw some kids out playing out front. So Christy?
I just wanted to let everybody know that while originally this was going to be Meg Brower's last meeting, the select board has extended everyone's commitment through July 10th. So she will be joining us for our July 1st meeting. So thank you, Meg.
Thanks, Meg.
No problem. Sorry, I don't have video today.
All right, with that, any more other board comments? Seeing none, we'll jump to other business. As Christy just pointed out, next meeting, July 1st, 12:30, then July 15th, 12:30. That will move us to executive session, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn regular session, not to return for the purpose of going into executive session. Where there may be a detrimental effect on negotiating position of the trust.
So
Would
moved.
anyone like to make that motion? Thank you, Meg. And a second,
Second,
thank you, Chantal, by roll call, Chantal Murphy,
aye.
Boris Bell,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Moore,
Bye.
Meg Bowers,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan tonight. Thanks all.